Hello and welcome back to another Pickled Unscripted. As always, I have with me the cute Zuko here in my lap, who is asleep and traumatized from the snow, and Matt the Pickled Dragon.
Sure glad when you said cute, you were talking about Zuko.
Do you want to be cute, Matt, or do you not want to be cute?
I've long past the cute stage, I think.
Aw, Matt, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking my favorite Christmas present of all time, my Aberfeldy 16. It's so good. It's delicious, as a matter of fact.
That your wonderful wife gave you?
Yes, yes,
How
she
nice.
did a nice job.
And
As
I have some lovely French cognac. I need to go out and go to the store and probably make another liquor run. So if you guys want to help us out, please subscribe to our channel, like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to sign up for a membership on our channel. That would help us pay our bar tab. Thank y'all.
Yeah, so Aberfeldy or Glenmorangie, if you're looking for somebody that you would like to send money to sponsor or even just free bottles of booze, we are available.
Or some nice wineries. Yeah. I'd be down with a wine subscription.
Or scotch.
Anyway, so we have a cool article that we wanted to talk to you guys about. And it is about a lot of the old news and the things that have been going on in Dungeons and Dragons. So we won't get into too much detail, so because we've done a few videos on this particular topic. But what's really interesting is the fact that this came from the New York Times.
Yeah, we're a little late to the party here. I know a lot of people have already talked about it, but um, I think that what we found interesting um, was that ordinary folks are like, oh, there's a culture war in Dungeons and Dragons and gaming. I mean, as it they I don't think I'm wondering if people don't realize that the culture war that we've seen has spread to all areas uh, of life. I can't think of a single thing where somebody hasn't raised race or gender or um, the way we live our lives, if we're a colonialist or whatever. I can't think of a single area of life where it's not been touched. So I think it's really interesting that that the New York Times has opened the door to the basement and realized the nerds down there are squabbling.
And you're absolutely right, Matt. I mean, I've been watching a lot of television in this last year and noticing that a lot of the things that I grew up loving or a lot of the jokes that I thought were so funny back in the day, I'm rewatching them now and I'm like, whoo, that would not be made today. And
Yeah.
sometimes these things are good things. And in a lot of cases, well, not in a lot of cases, but some cases like this particular article topic, it's not a good thing. And the title of this New York Times article is Dungeons and Dragons Rolls the Dice with New Rules About Identity. The role playing game replaced race with species and divorced several character traits from biological identity. Some longtime players are upset, as is Elon Musk. And so
And
yeah, this article goes into that, but it is wild that the normies are now picking up on this topic.
yeah, and again, this was like some of this. I mean, this is a kind of a longer article. It's like 13 pages long, at least PDF style it is. Uh, but it's a lot of this information's like a year old or more. Um, but I think it's interesting that I guess, like we said, I think it's really interesting that just ordinary everyday people are like, what is going on over there? Um, and and I thought this article was fairly a interesting article insofar as that it got a lot of different perspectives.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe it was the whole Elon Musk thing that got the other folks paying attention because I mean, like I said, Elon Musk is a walking media frenzy, right? Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
so, I guess where anywhere his name is attached, uh, the anywhere his name is attached, people's eyes will immediately go, right?
Hmm.
So, so races are now species. A mountain dwarf is no longer inherently brawny and durable. A high elf no longer intelligent and dexterous by definition. Um, so, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the whole race species thing. Like, to me, it's like if they had done this without all of the lip service as to why they were doing it, it would have been easier to swallow and it would probably cause less waves. Like if they just came out one day and
And just
said,
did
"Oh,
it.
we're going to start calling everything species." And because they're species, they can't intermate, so we're not going to have half elves or half orcs anymore. Okay. Okay, like we could all probably just we'd have all our people speculating and everything. But instead, the folks at WotC, they came out and they were like, well, a half elf is racist. It's like, oh my God,
Ugh.
um, and of course, all the other divisive language and whatnot that came along with um came along with all these changes. They did quote Rob Kuntz, which I thought was interesting, and they called him an award-winning game designer who frequently collaborated with Gary Gygax, a co-creator of Dungeons and Dragons. Said he disliked Wizards of the Coast's effort to legislate from above rather than provide room for dungeon masters, the game's ringleaders and referees, to tailor their individual campaigns. It's an unnecessary thing. It attempts to play into something that I'm not sure is even worthy of addressing, as if the word race is bad. That's cool. I like that. Uh,
There's our boy Rob.
yes. I also find this quote to be kind of interesting because there is all kinds of speculation on how well D&D 2024 is going to do. So Jeremy Crawford, who was 5e one of 5e's guys, right? He thinks that the audience is shrinking. The game is becoming so tailored to just one way of playing that it was not feeling as inviting as we knew the game could be. So by tailored, I think that they're talking about, it seems as though because of the political causes that WotC has been taking up, it feels as though he's talking about tailored to the activist, let's not try not to offend anybody and in the process offend everybody.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's very much what WotC's been doing, isn't it?
So I have no idea if D&D's audience is shrinking or not.
I
There's
think
so
it
much
is. What
speculation
do you
yet.
guys think? Comment down below. I think that our D&D audience is starting to shrink. I think more and more people, because of all these stupid little changes, are going farther and farther away from Dungeons and Dragons. And they're looking at other RPGs to play or something else to do with their time entirely. And I think the people who weren't already interested in D&D, hearing about some of these changes isn't going to make them interested. They're not going to suddenly be like, "Oh, wow, that's so great that a dwarf and an elf can't have a baby. I don't know what they did in The Hobbit, but and then let's go play D&D." No, no. So that's just my thought.
Yeah, um there's been some speculation as to whether D&D YouTube has a future as a result. Um, we recently saw two large channels quit. They published, I think, within a week or so of each other, their final videos, and said
They were out.
they were out because they claim that, and their views are down. Their views are down. But those channels tended to focus on, if you're a new player, here's what you need to do. If you want to play a ranger, this is what you need to do. And I think we're at the point now where those videos not only are incredibly saturated across YouTube, but I don't think that the player base of D&D is growing sufficiently to warrant that amount. In other words, the players who are playing now already have their own experiences and aren't looking for novice, how-tos as much as they were in the past. I mean, their videos, you know, I think that Professor Dungeon Master, Dan, he did a video on his Dungeon Craft channel where he talked about those two leaving YouTube. Actually, I think they started new channels under a different genre. But the you know he points out that yeah, these topics aren't growing, but if you're willing to talk about the this material that we're talking about here, meaning the culture war stuff, there's still an audience for that. There is still an audience for the other stuff too, but it's not nearly as great, you know. So it's interesting. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence to suggest that D&D isn't growing like it used to.
So
Um,
if you guys would like to hear other topics, go ahead and comment down below and let us know if you'd like to see other topics or if you completely disagree with the fact that D&D audience is shrinking and there's plenty of room for Matt and I to still grow.
yes. And we have a lot of plans ourselves.
We do.
Um, and they go on to quote other people, almost Campbell, if you win all the time, it's just not fun, and that's kind of where 5e had gone, the players just smash everything, which is is a significant problem with 5e. And so, but in any case, the the article kind of at this point glosses over a number of different topics that happened here recently that we've already discussed. Here we got Tolkien being discussed and associated
Hmm.
with negative racial tropes, which we did a video on.
Great
Uh,
video.
yeah, and I think if we strip away all of all of the BS that surrounds D&D and we just look at the changes they made, I mean, like for example, associating your stat bonuses with your background rather than the race itself. Um, part of me likes that. Like if I were playing a game with a lot of minutia, a lot of rules, a lot of grindy bits that I could customize my skill points and whatnot, and that was the design philosophy of the game. I kind of like it, like from a standpoint of being able to build an interesting character, maybe a dwarf who is, you know, uh, uh, a wizard. You don't see a lot of dwarf wizards.
Why not?
Low strength dwarf or whatever. I think that makes sense. But in a game that touts itself to be easily learned, have a low threshold of accessibility, they're adding all of this minutia we know for political and social justice reasons, and I think they're getting away from their design philosophy with the game. My perspective on it, I don't know if anyone agrees, but you guys, I'm sure, will let us know. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the basic gist of this article, I think what is most interesting is just how people are just now, like people outside of the hobby are just now realizing that there's something going on there. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, uh, you know, what do you guys think?
Comment, like, subscribe, go to dnddice.com and use code PICKLED and get some dice. If not for your next Dungeons and Dragons campaign, any campaign you have, but go to dnddice.com and use code PICKLED. But as always, come back and have another round on us.
Woo!